Um, two podcasts in one day if you see the upload. But this one, you're definitely not going to want to miss it if you've kind of are hip to the CJK kind of stories and stuff like that. So it's really strange. I can't say funny, but it's really strange that how things have kind of come full circle with Chris and and I'm gonna get into stuff that's pretty upsetting, but I thought I'd get it out there because Chris was right, man. I mean, I know he doesn't want to be right, of course, but it's just a horrible, horrible, absolutely horrific situation, and I really mean that. That's not for any kind of trying to build up anything, but when I knew Chris was over was when he kind of overreacted, right? About an old bandmate, and we didn't. Me and Mark didn't know that he was like as terrified of this bandmate until we would mention him, and he would kind of react a certain way. I mean, Chris, like I said the last time with with the violin, he kind of overreacted and threw a fit, and we were like laughing. But for those of you that don't know, Chris was afraid of this guy named Jeremy. He was terrified of him. Didn't want to hang out with him. Didn't want anything to do with him. And we gave him a lot of shit about it, dude. We gave him a lot of shit about it because we were like, because my reaction was, well, Chris, just because someone has a gun doesn't make them terrifying, which is true, but that wasn't, I think, Chris's main thing. It's that he had a gun and he was Chris felt that he was someone that just had, I guess, couldn't control himself once he got aggravated. I don't know. But of course, this whole time I've heard stories. I finally got to meet Jeremy at Chris's wedding a few years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. It feels like yesterday, all this shit for me. But yeah, it was, I believe, in 2021. Chris will correct me. And anyway, we get the news today, man, that that guy Jeremy killed himself. He killed himself, and he killed his beautiful wife and his little girl that was, I think, 7 years old from what I saw. And it's just one of the craziest, surreal, upsetting things that, when that shit happens, it's always a shocker, of course, no matter what. But when it's close to home, you definitely don't know what to think, and of course I feel the most bad and upset that this guy, you know, uh, had to, because he wasn't happy, decided to take his daughter and wife with him, which is a coward thing to do. But I mean, you don't know how upset people are. It gives them no excuse to do that anyway. But you just don't know what people are going through. But I feel bad for old CJ, man. That he was terrified, and for good reason. Because I mean, you don't know anybody until till you've really spent time with him, and obviously he knew uh, Jeremy better than we did. Obviously, for him to be afraid of him and to say like, "Hey, I don't want to be around him because of XYZ," And then for this shit to have, it's just unbelievable. Because you guys know. I mean, for those of you that have been around for a while, have heard the stories. I think I may have posted that voice message um, of Jeremy, and you know, just look now. The whole time old CJ was shitting his britches, and like I said, for good reason. And for me, that's it's scary. It's scary too when you know, Jeremy had a brother that I was an asshole to, and I really feel bad, for doing that, just because I was, throwing a little fit because Chris was uh, ignoring ignoring the chat, and I thought I'd, get payback, you know, thought I'd get payback, on Chris by coming after his buddies that he was, Chris treats them differently, and it's just so fucking crazy now. It's just so fucking crazy now to not only feel bad for the kid, for the parent, for Jeremy, you know, for Chris, but for Chris's brother, for Jeremy's brother, Jeff, because after being a dickhead to him, now he's going through that shit, and how do you, I know he doesn't want to hear from me, but I feel bad for him anytime you lose your brother and shit like that. No matter what the circumstances are, they're still your brother, and it's just a really sad, fucked up situation that you wish you could. And Jeremy, like I said, I don't know Jeremy as much as Chris or anything like that, but Jeremy always kind of had those things that that I felt like he had told me one time that if I believed in the QAnon, whatever that shit is, and I kind of know what that was, but I don't. I thought it was kind of stupid, right? And when he had asked me about it, I kind of felt that was strange for him to, not that that's like an indicator of anything, but I thought that was like, why would you follow that? That's kind of like, that's fucking kind of like nonsense stuff, right? And when he had told me about that shit, that like did you read about Q and all this and that, and I was like, what? Like, no, I don't read any of that crap. It's all, I'm not for one side or the other when it comes to politics, because they're both dumb. But for him to kind of go into that, I thought it was kind of like, well, this, and then also too, where Chris had told me that he had a Facebook for a little bit of time, but he also felt like the government would like track you and shit like that. So when someone starts doing me, which of course they do, but I mean, just because you don't have a Facebook or just because you don't want to have a Facebook because of that, or like doesn't make you safe. There's a lot of other ways. Again, not right or wrong to do. I just found that kind of like, wow, this guy's going to weird lengths, and to me, it felt like when you're doing stuff like that, I mean, sometimes it could be good, right? I'm not saying like I know better, right? But when you're like secluded from the world and you don't even have that portal to reach out to people or to talk to people, and your only life is like the life that's in front of you. I know some people say, well, that's good. I mean, not if you're into QAnon and doing other stuff. That's just as crazy to me as like that. I think it was a transgender person out there killing people. A lot of people are confused and lonely, and they don't know what to do, and there's no one to talk to them really. And then shit like this happens, and like I can only imagine that with Jeremy, kind of staying to himself and only knowing family, which family is great. That I don't know. I don't know what happened with him, but obviously when you kill your family, it sounds kind of like um, it's not going so well. Kind of obviously. So um, I don't know. I just those little indicators. I kind of felt they were strange, for him to kind of be kind of secluded, because it's never good to be on your own, not talking to somebody. Um, but like again, I go back to Chris too because Chris went in his little cave for a while, and I'm like, Chris, that's not good. If you're afraid of somebody, at least talk to us about it. Like not talking to anybody is not a good idea, you know. And it's just it's just unbelievable, dude. That like I said, I talk a lot of shit about Chris, you know, because he's dirty and he's ridiculous, which he is. He's all those things, right? But this one thing was the big like like this like isn't that crazy? Isn't that like out of this world fucking insane that Chris is afraid of this guy? You know, like the same way I'll put emphasis on all the shit that I talk about, right? When Chris is ridiculous. But Chris was afraid of this guy, this guitar player. We thought it was insane. Like, why are you afraid of this guitar player? And the guitar player ends up killing himself and his own family, dude. We just found out about this today. They think his name's Jeremy Martinez. I'm sure you can find the article in San Antonio. And it's just the craziest play of events that you know this happened. It's fucking insane. It really, really fucking insane. Really fucking insane that it turned out like that, man. Because it's like when I met the guy, it was like it was somebody. It's scary too, right? Because you don't know who you're fucking with. You know, I Jeremy and his brother, like they were dudes that I legitimately wanted to like jam out with, hang out with, and create a fucking you know, like a band or like I swear to God, like that was one of the things that I had wanted to do was is hang out with both of them and jam out. And to hear about all this shit, it's scary that you could have been, you know, you could have easily if someone does that shit, they easily get pissed off and do something to you. And like I said, I thought I'd make this video. There's not too much more I can say other than to give you guys the update. I wasn't like Jeremy's best friend or anything like that. I met him once for Chris's wedding, and I talked to him a handful of times. The thing is, I really enjoyed Jeremy's music. He was a very, very talented guy. But, I mean, it's really upsetting to see what he did to his family, you know? And then I saw, you know, people posting on his wife's Facebook that I hope you rot in hell, you know, Jeremy. And that's, like I said, everywhere you look, like I said, I feel bad for his brother because that's still his brother, and of course, he doesn't want that. You know, for his blood, but I don't know, man. I need a drink. I'm working for another hour and a half. I will talk to you guys on the next one.